Now, if you have a tech YouTube channel and you get to, I'd say the threshold is about 5,000 subscribers, you start to get inundated with weirdly complimentary spam emails from tech manufacturers wanting you to review their random product. And they usually go along the lines of, "Wow, nice to meet you, insert channel name here. Your content brings me great joy and inspiration. If you review my USB hub that also has dog toenail clippers in it, it will bring me to glorious climax." And usually my response to this kind of email is to politely ignore them, because why would I want to review a Bluetooth headset that can also refrigerate coconut water for some reason? But then I woke up the other morning and I was like, why am I not reviewing this stuff? So I asked Anna to reach out to 5 varyingly obscure review sample requests from the last week so that we can all marvel at them together. But before we do some marveling, it's time for a quick word from today's video sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by Geekom and their awesome looking new LS series of AIOs that come in a range of sizes from 120mm up to 360mm for them hot boy CPUs. The new Geekom LS series AIOs come with daisy chainable fans, some RGB goodness, and Geekom's new 4th generation pump, which apparently has improved microchannel design ensuring optimal coolant flow. Ooh. If all of this sounds good to you, check out the new LS series of Geekom AIOs using the link in the description below. Thank you Geekom for sponsoring today's video. Now, it's been several years, but we finally have this stuff, and it's really cool to finally get to actually see some of the random crap you get offered on a daily basis. No offense to the people making this random crap, of course. So with that, let's start off with this one. The first product happened to be from a very popular category, USB hub plus gimmick. And this one has an M.2 slot right in the USB hub. Accessory-wise, you get some thermal pad, a silicone case, and a cable. Ooh, look at that. Opens like that, and then this is where the M.2 SSD goes. It feels pretty solid, you know, it's like a pretty sturdy, nice feeling bit of kit. And while looking at all of the ports on offer by this very sturdily constructed USB hub, you could tell that I was impressed. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say about it. It's a USB hub. In terms of price, apparently this Acasis is $100 and you have to buy it off their site, but we'll do some testing with it later. Ooh, we've got a wearable smart air conditioner. Straight off the bat, I was struggling with the impossible to read writing on the side of the box, apparently done by someone falling down an escalator. But once I got over my confusion, I was quite excited. I am a hot boy, right? To me, if it's above 17 degrees Celsius, I am sweating and uncomfortable. So this actually seems like a great product for me. The outside of this case looks and feels a little bit like how I imagine asbestos looks and feels. That's a concerning start. Hopefully this isn't a carcinogen. Well, there is a whole lot of branding on this case. Go like that, and wow, that looks like a very adventurous sex toy. Kind of pop it out like that. You just kind of put it on like that and then you feel really cool. Although, actually, it is already very cold to the touch and it's doing a good job cooling my very high body temperature down, and it's not even powered on, so that's a good sign. Now, having a look at it, one of the first things that stands out to me is that it's not very big and there's no size adjustability. So if you're one of those people that has like an upturned dish bowl for a neck, this is not going to work at all for you because it's already kind of chafy and it's not quite big enough for my neck. So the iSwift is $250 for this little air conditioner. It's not very well reviewed on Amazon. So out of 8 reviews, it's got 3 stars. Ugh, whoa. There's a lot of stuff in here. We've got a sealed envelope in here that says yours ever. Very elaborately folded letter in here. How do I open it? As I struggle opening this note, it's basically just a reviewer's guide written in quite flowery language. Doogie stepping up with some style. The first little box had several skins for the back of the phone, ranging from carbon fiber effect to wood effect, so they're kinda like a case with extra steps. Oh, they've included smart glasses as well. They have kind of snuck a second product into this review, which I feel like is cheating a little bit. As a glasses wearer myself, that is not a very good glasses hinge. I wonder if these are also IP69 rated, or if you're just going to be electrocuted if it rains on you, which kind of seems like it may be the case. These have speakers built in, which I can just imagine sound atrocious. Yeah, that I feel so cool. I think that these glasses, with this, I mean, I now look like the techiest person in the world. And while you try your best to control your rampant arousal for how sexy I look with all this tech on me, let's check out the Doogie phone. Whoa, that is a big phone. In terms of accessories, we get a kinda losery 10-watt wall wart, a cable, and a lanyard thing. Oh, and a screen protector. You can see it's one of those tough phones for people that, I guess, recreationally sword battle. It's surprisingly comfortable in the hand. Doogie wasn't lying. It does feel decent in the hand. It is quite a big phone. Okay, so that's the SIM card slot. You can actually put 2 SIM cards in here with a memory card. On the other side, we've got a fingerprint sensor and a volume rocker. We have a covered up USB-C port, which means this thing can just do lots of water and stuff can happen to it. Oh, look at that! The phone has a headphone jack, which means already it is the best phone in the world at the moment, because you can actually plug the headphones into it. Although what's an even more exciting feature is apparently this phone has a night vision camera in it, which I am definitely going to try tonight. Now next up, we have the little Geekom Mini Air 11, which is a mini PC. Now I would say about 70% of the emails we get are from people with mini PCs. There is a surprising amount of them. Specs-wise, we have a Celeron N5095 in it, and as we know, the name Celeron is synonymous with power. We also have 8 gigs of RAM and a 256 gig SSD. And then here is the very mini PC. It is very small. The little mini PC also comes with a nicely printed card, but this one is for customer support information, not bribery. Underneath that, we have a little velvet effect carrying bag so you can transport your mini PC in style. There's also a power brick, a mini DisplayPort to HDMI adapter, some mounting screws, damn, an HDMI cable as well. You even get a VESA mount for it in the box. Often, these manufacturers have those as like an optional accessory, so it's nice to have it included in the box. On the front, there's a little bit of I/O. On the back, there's a bit more I/O and a vent with a pretty significant looking heatsink in there, so that's promising. In fact, generally, ventilation on this little device does seem pretty good. Now, it may not have a lot of ports on it, but at least they're good modern ports. All in all, I can't wait to fire up the little Geekom. Maybe try and play some games on it and see how much horsepower we get from the little Celeron. But first, we have one more thing to unbox before we get to the review segment. This, which is the Fopo. That is a nice looking box. You've got some elevated print on the top, and you can see here that it's kind of like a thing that sits on your monitor and gives you 2 extra displays on it. Okay, so this is the kind of thing that I assume they want you to carry around with your laptop, but it's big and it's heavy. It's not that portable, but you know, we'll get into that in a bit. It comes with all of the cables, which adds to the immediate concern around portability for this thing. It even comes with a wall wart. I guess it just kind of folds like that. I think the other display folds up from the bottom. Why is this one on the bottom? There's more of a disconnect between where the 2 displays sit in relation to the middle monitor. It seems like a bit of a weird thing, but I'm excited to try it out because in theory it's quite cool. If you have it closed like that, the display is on the outside, so it's gonna be easily damaged. It's a very flimsy little stand, that feels real weak. And with my skepticism growing fast of the Fopo, we finally unboxed all of the products, which means it's time for the review section of the video. First things first, what's the venereal bloatware situation like on the little Geekom? Whoa, that is a very clean Windows install. Good job, little Geekom! Here is our little quad-core Celeron. Oh, and a single 8GB stick of RAM! Who would have seen that coming? We also have some Intel UHD graphics, so gaming should be very interesting on this little Geekom mini PC. Okay, so anything in the ballpark of GTA 5 at 1080p low settings is not really feasible on this little baby PC. So let's drop it down to 720p, maybe that'll work. Ooh, I guess if you have very low standards, this is fine. Bear in mind, this is not at all what it's designed to do, and considering that, this is quite an impressive showing. Also, the temperatures are great and it's nice and quiet. However, I wouldn't really consider this playable. So let's quickly try a game that should run on this little system. It's not running super well, but at 1080p high settings, Half-Life 2 is definitely playable, which means you can do at least medium gaming on this little Geekom. It can handle 4K 60 video, the CPU is fast enough that you don't have a frustrating Windows experience on it. In terms of CPU performance, you're looking at about 3rd generation i5, which for a PC that small is actually not that bad. And you can even emulate older games, so yeah, it's a solid little mini PC. Oh, and in terms of price, it comes in at $280 US. And as far as I'm concerned, the only real problem I have with the little Geekom is that it doesn't quite have enough I/O. Luckily, we have a solution to that problem. The Acasis USB hub. Very smooth review transition there. Now, I'm not entirely sure how to review a USB hub, because surely if you plug things into it and it USBs, it's fine. But I guess I'll go a bit deeper than that. Now, using the 10 gigabit USB-C port on the little Geekom, this is the result we get, which is not great, considering that in that caddy we have a WD black NVMe drive, so the caddy is bottlenecking that SSD quite a bit. So let's see how much that changes with the Acasis. Damn, having the Acasis in the chain lost us about half our transfer speed, and that's with just one of the ports being used. With that, I sense a contender entering the arena to give us some context. Now, I've also tested it with a different USB-C hub I happen to have lying around, and we get about the same results. So with my sample size of 2, I've determined that this is the industry standard USB-C data throughput result. And now the last thing we're gonna do is test the little SSD caddy in here. Now, it's about 25% slower than the Silverstone caddy, which is not ideal, but at least it's faster than the USB ports on the hub. So at the end of the day, the USB hub does USB hub things. Although, I will say, my main complaint with it is that it doesn't really have enough USB ports on it, which I feel like is quite a fundamental failure on a device like this. 2 square USB ports just feels insufficient. You can just plug a mouse and keyboard into this thing, and then you need a USB hub for your USB hub, which seems really dumb. I don't know, I feel like to me, the minimum requirement is at least 4 square USB ports, but maybe I have unrealistic expectations. So let me know in the comment section down below what you think, and then with that, I'm gonna stop talking about the USB hub now and move on to something else. Now, next up, we're gonna test the neck Aircon, which I have over here. That's clearly been designed either for children or people with very skinny necks. So I guess we just kind of slide it on there and then... Okay. It's beeped. Oh! Whoa! Now, my first impression is that it's very noisy. It's kind of unsettling because it's blowing air right up into the base of my ears, and I don't know, it feels weird. It feels like someone's blowing really hard on the back of my neck, but like not someone I know or want to have blowing on my neck. I don't know, it's just, it doesn't feel as consensual as I feel like it should. Do I just turn it down? There we go, that's a bit less jarring. I think it was on max power. It's still very noisy though. I don't know if I want something going in my ears the whole time. This is not my kind of device. But I think I'll like it more if I augment it with the Doogie glasses. So let's put the Doogie glasses on. Ah! It just spoke into my ear. Ah! Kaichi? What? Okay. I think it's on. Oh, okay, it's trying to connect to Bluetooth. So let me quickly get my phone. I mean, I have to say, my neck is a lot cooler than it was before. In fact, I'm actually getting a little cold. So I think it's quite effective. Although again, it feels like there are two people behind me blowing on my ears. I don't love that. But let's do Bluetooth. It just said 连接 in my ear, so I think that means connected in Chinese, I'm assuming. And at this point, I spent the next 5 minutes struggling to connect the Doogie smart glasses to my phone. But I got there eventually. The speakers are happening, but they are about as terrible as you would imagine speakers in sunglasses to be. That is some of the worst audio I think I've ever heard. Like, the sound is shockingly bad. Sorry about that, Doogie, it's a little bit of a fail. But getting back to the actual like Aircon headset, it's cooling me quite effectively. Like, I feel cold at this point. It just invades my personal space bubble somehow. And another issue that I have with it is because of how kind of silicone-y it is, it's gonna get disgusting instantly. So I think sweat-wise and stuff, it's not gonna be great. Yeah, if you have a skinny neck and you don't mind people blowing in your ear, then yeah, maybe this is the very expensive product for you. With that, let's try something else. And now we need to kind of unfold this thing, so I think this is the back. This feels really scary to interact with. It's very precarious. And then you kind of do that. Wow, this thing feels like it's gonna break at any second, but you can kind of, it's got like a ratchet. And then, come on, I hope that the side monitor doesn't fall off. And then on the back here, which this is gonna be very dark, but on the back here, this stand is all that keeps it in place. Okay, there we go. I think this Fopo MultiMonitor thing is a Marmite product. Now, I'm pretty sure I've used this analogy on the channel before, but for those of you that don't know, Marmite is like a yeast-based sandwich spread that has like a black tarry consistency. And there is no middle ground with Marmite. You either fanatically love it, or you gag just at the thought of it. Now, the reason I think this is a Marmite product is because after struggling to set it up, I sat back, looked at it, and thought, wow, that's really dumb. Wait a minute, didn't I remember seeing a Linus thumbnail with one of these in? So I went and watched Linus's video on a different version of one of these products, and actually there's a pretty serious patent legal battle going on between two of these companies over intellectual property theft. I don't think Fopo is involved with that, although I may be wrong. Let me know in the comment section down below. Anyway, I watched this video where Linus and the person helping him review it are just giddy with excitement about this thing. They're like, wow, this is a pretty janky implementation, but it's such a promising product. Whereas for me, it doesn't get me giddy. I just think it's kind of a dumb idea. Now I fully understand, this is not a product designed for me. I'm not one of those productivity power users or whatever the term is that wants as many displays around me as possible. My idea of productivity is sitting in front of a single good monitor with Premiere Pro for 12 hours, editing until my eyes bleed, right? I don't want a bunch of displays with distracting crap around me. But I do understand that a lot of people like that. A lot of people want that kind of thing around them. And even taking that into account, I still think this is a dumb product. Laptops almost fundamentally are about portability. That's why laptops keep getting smaller and thinner so that it's easier for you to carry it around. So, if you introduce a product that is, if anything, bigger than the average laptop that you have to carry around with you, and every time you have to set up the thing, you put your laptop down, you have to spend a bunch of time struggling with the big dumb plastic thing, being very careful to not have one of the flaps fall down and break one of the displays on the desk. And after you've got it set up with the little stand on the back so your display doesn't fall over, you then have to plug it into every piece of I/O on your laptop for the thing to work. And then after going through all of that effort, what you're rewarded with is two kinda crappy laptop displays that don't match the color temperature of your main laptop display, which is gonna drive you crazy. But, you know, you have a lot of space for productivity and whatever. However, someone's gonna call you like 20 minutes later and you have to tear the whole thing down and move it somewhere else. It's just not practical. Now, some of you may be thinking, but Dawid, maybe it's not very portable, but this is the kind of thing that you can set up at home for more monitor real estate on your laptop. But if you're gonna use it at home, why not just get a proper monitor? This thing costs $650 US. You can buy a super badass monitor for $650. In fact, you can buy 3 pretty good monitors for $650. Why would you want to use this at home? So it doesn't work for portability, it doesn't work at home. When are you supposed to use it? So I'm sorry, Fopo, I think that this thing is just a gimmick, and I am willing to bet money that even if you think that this thing isn't a bad idea, if you buy one, you'll use it like 5, maybe 6 times, and then never take it out with you again because you realized you make terrible life decisions. So again, sorry Fopo, I don't like your thing very much, but yeah, we need to move on to the next product, so let's go check it out. Now the hinge on this right display can't really handle the weight of the 2 cables. Even, yeah, like there's a very specific angle where it actually holds it. The final product we're gonna look at in today's video is the little Doogie Howser smartphone, which is a $200 tough phone. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't have a lot of personal experience with $200 smartphones. But after doing a quick Google, it's a very competitive space. Like there are a lot of options, and even in terms of like tough phones, there are a lot of options. And that's a bit of a problem for the Doogie because this isn't a very good smartphone. The display, while very bright, is pretty bad. The phone isn't particularly fast. None of the biometrics on it really work. Like I've only been able to get the fingerprint sensor to work once. So let's give it a try now. So you lift. I got it first try! That is okay, that is a weird coincidence because that's the first time that's happened. But most of the time, it's just me sitting there struggling with it. So let's try again. Maybe it just needed time to learn my finger. Let's try again. I spent a lot of time yesterday struggling to unlock this phone using the fingerprint sensor. And now it's just working. Okay, so never mind. Apparently it has an amazing fingerprint sensor in it, but still, my point stands. Considering the competition out there, I think it's a really tough market for this phone to compete in. Like, you can buy a renewed Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus for $200 off of Amazon. Now, there is some dubious future software support for a device that old, but still, in pretty much every category, an S10 Plus is a better phone than the Doogie Howser, aside from one pretty amazing selling point for this phone. Now, when I got it home, I used it a little bit and I was like, oh, this is a bit lame. And then, in the middle of the night, I brought up the night vision camera. Now, this is a picture using the normal camera, and then this is a picture using the night vision camera. It turns your cat into a demon. It's really cool. And because it uses like IR flashlights, it means that even in pitch black darkness, this camera works. It does have a downside though. It has live preview, but you can't record video with it. Which means if, like me, you wanted to immediately buy one of these to film the Blair Witch Project with, that you're kind of out of luck, it's not going to work. But still, I think the night vision camera is one of the more interesting gimmicks I've seen on a phone in a while, and That on its own almost is worth the price of the phone. So yeah, that's my opinion on the Doogie, which brings me to the end of the video. Let me know in the comment section down below which product you thought was the coolest and which one you thought was the least cool. Now, in my opinion, the coolest one, or at least the one that has a use and met expectation the most, was maybe the little mini PC. The one I liked the least, you're not going to be surprised by this one, unfortunately, is the Fopo thing. I'm sorry, Fopo, I just don't like the concept. And I think the only way that it would make sense in like a real world application is if it was natively part of the laptop. Like if it was just a bit of display that you could fold out and you didn't have to use every piece of IO on your laptop to use it. Kind of like that Razer thing. Even in that case, I don't think it's anything more than a gimmick. But let me know if you think I'm wrong in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching. Maybe watch another video. A suggestion will pop up in a second. And until the next video, bye-bye.